Howdy guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Makayla and today we are doing a reading wrap-up and review of the 8 books that I read in the month of October, and I'm super excited. So we're going to jump right into it, and this is spoiler free, so don't fret if you have not read any of these books. I will not spoil anything for you. Okay, so we're going to start out with the 2 books that I read on my Kindle this month. The first one was A Flicker in the Dark by Stacey Willingham. This one I had been seeing all over TikTok, especially when I first got into reading. A lot of people recommended this one as a thriller. I feel like I was just a little bit disappointed by it. I very much love high stakes thrillers, and I feel like this one just didn't fully get there for me. And I see why some people probably really like it, especially if you don't like super intense creepy thrillers. I think this one kind of would be for you. But for me, I was just looking for a little bit more, especially just with how hyped up this book was to me. So I ended up giving that one 3 stars. The next book that I read on my Kindle this month was The Deal by Elle Kennedy, which I'm super excited because I want to start reading the Off-Campus series, and this is obviously the first book in that, and I do just want to kind of slowly read through that series because it's just really well known and famous, and it's kind of just like cheesy hockey college romances. But honestly, kind of I like reading that sometimes, especially in between some of my more intense books. I kind of just like a little palate cleanser of reading a cheesy, fun romance, and that definitely did that for me. I loved The Deal. I ended up giving it 4 stars. I read it in like a little over a day, which is pretty rare at the moment just because of how busy I am, that I found it very hard to kind of sit down and really binge read a book, but I did for this one. So that was a very good start to it, and I ended up giving The Deal 4 stars because it wasn't a literary masterpiece by any means, but like I said, it was what I was wanting in that moment, and it just hit the mark of a just fun, cheesy college romance. The first physical book that we're going to talk about is Tomorrow and Tomorrow and Tomorrow by Gabrielle Zevin. I was reading this for another video that actually should be coming out within the next few weeks, but this book obviously is very popular. This is a very well-known book, and I had high expectations going in. I didn't really know what to expect, but I expected it to be really good because I've heard such great things from people. And I really liked the storyline of the animation and these friends lifelong creating games and going through life together. I really liked that story. However, one of my pet peeves when reading books is when characters are unlikable, and throughout most of the book I found all of the characters insufferable. I could not stand most of the characters throughout the whole book, and that really just knocked it down for me. If the characters were more likable, this could have easily been a 5 star. I really loved the storyline, but I just hated the characters, and that is just one of my biggest pet peeves when reading books, is when a main character is unlikable. It just ruins the whole plot for me. So this one ended up getting 4 stars. Like I said, it could have been a 5 star if the characters were better, but the characters knocked it down a full star. So this one was 4 stars. The next one we're going to talk about is Hell House by Richard Matheson. This was actually a DNF for me. It takes a lot for me to DNF a book. To be honest, I don't like DNFing books. I really tried to push through them no matter what, but this one was just bad. I could not stand it. It is an older written book, and some of the themes of that I didn't really enjoy. You can watch more of my thoughts on my reading scary books for a week video because this book was in there, but I just didn't like the story, didn't like the characters. Weird things, like just really weird things were written, and I didn't enjoy it, so I wasn't going to force myself to keep reading it because I have a limited amount of time to read because I am in the middle of my senior year of college. So I'm a very busy bee. I don't have the most time in the world to read, so I'm not going to spend it reading a book that I don't enjoy. So I ended up DNFing Hell House by Richard Matheson. The next book is Mr. Magic by Kirsten White. This was also read in that same video, the 24-hour or 20 reading scary books for a week video, and this one I really enjoyed. I was expecting a little bit higher stakes, which it didn't give, but I really did love it. It was super ominous and kind of like spooky, so I did really like that. I would recommend it. It is on the shorter side, and I ended up giving this one 3.5 stars. The main reason is I did expect it to be a little bit more intense, and my thrillers especially, I'm more harsher on my ratings just because I expect a lot. I've grown up watching scary movies. I also avidly listened to true crime podcasts in a long phase throughout college and high school. So I just expect more intensity and stuff, but this one was still really good. So if you're not wanting a super scary or intense thriller slash horror, I think this is actually a pretty good one to pick up. And yeah, it is on the shorter side, so I would recommend anyone give this a try. And like I said, I gave this one 3.5 stars. Next book we have is The Mist by Stephen King. I did kind of a whole Stephen King reading marathon, which that video is actually going to be coming out later this week. And it was really, really fun. I tried out reading 3 of Stephen King's books for the first time, and I really liked this one especially. It is really, really short. I think it's not even 200 pages. So if you're wanting to get a taste of Stephen King and his writing style, but don't want to commit to a super, super long book, this is a great option for you. There is a movie adaptation of this as well, and the movie was actually pretty good when I did watch it. This one was just perfect. It's quick, easy, spooky read, and I would highly recommend this to anyone. I ended up giving this one 4 stars. So this one is pretty good for a horror thriller on my own scale. So I would recommend this one to anyone that wants to give Stephen King a try. Now, the next one, I'm actually really disappointed, and it was Ninth House by Leah Bardugo. I went into this one with really, really high hopes. I love dark academia set books, and I was really excited because I've seen this one kind of all over TikTok, and I was really excited to read it. But something just fell short for me. I felt like we just got thrown into this story with not a lot of context, and then I just didn't find myself motivated to want to read it. I didn't really care about the story, and I just didn't find it that intriguing or interesting, and I almost DNF'd this. I was very, very close to DNFing it. It is on the longer side. It's over 400 pages, so like I said, I just have very limited reading time, so I've been very particular about what I have been reading. And yeah, this one really disappointed me. I was really sad because I did have high hopes going in. So I ended up giving this one 3 stars. Yeah, it just disappointed me, which really sucked. The last book that I read in the month of October that we are going to talk about is 11/22/63 by Stephen King. This is a very large book. I was very daunted to go into it, but I did split reading it half between listening to audiobook and half reading the physical book, and I think it worked perfectly. I really like Stephen King books in audiobook form. I think his writing style really lends well to listening to the books, but this one was so interesting, and it really just made me reflect and think about what I would do in this situation. Like, if I had the chance to go and change history, would I do it? And it just constantly had me thinking, and I loved the characters, really got connected to the story, and was super excited to keep reading and figure out what was going to happen. So I really enjoyed it. And after I finished reading it, this is one of the first books that I finished reading in the month of October, and I continually thought about it throughout the month. So I did end up actually increasing my rating. Originally I gave it a 4-star, but I kept thinking about it and couldn't stop reflecting and just thinking about it. So I ended up raising it to a 4.5 star. I absolutely loved it. It has been one of my favorite reads of the year so far, and yeah, I have really liked it, and I would recommend this book to anyone. I know it's super long and daunting. This isn't a scary book. It is not in the horror genre. So like I said, Stephen King really branches out. He doesn't just do horror books, and this is a really good one, especially if you're not big into thriller or horror. This is more of kind of just like an action mystery type thing, and I really enjoyed it. It was so interesting. It just made me ponder my own life and thoughts. So, like I said, I gave this one 4.5 stars. So those were the 8 books that I read in the month of October. It was actually a pretty good reading month. Like I said, I've just been really busy with semester, so I haven't been able to read as much as of late. But I did get through quite a few books, and I did enjoy them. So let me know if you guys have read any of these and what other books are on y'all's fall TBR. But thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you like, comment, subscribe, and I will see you in the next video. Bye!